This video is for you if you're thinking about starting to foil or you're already foiling and you're considering to upgrade, because today we're going to test 3 different foils from freeride to freerace all the way to racing. And in the end of the video, you'll hopefully know which foil is the right one for you and whether you need to upgrade or not. So apart from my racing foil, we have the Glidewind HP and the Flight FR, which Nearpride was kind enough to send us over for this test. And I would say first things first, let's get it set up and ready for the test. Today we are using a 7.2 Speedster sail, which is not a dedicated foil sail, but it's the most average sail we have with us here right now, so I think it's going to be great for the test. And then we have the slalom foil racing board, which of course you wouldn't use necessarily with a freeride foil, but we want to keep one board across all the foils because we only want to change the foils to see the real difference. So we choose this board because I think you can use it with all the foils. It's just not the perfect fit for some foils, but this is the one we're going for. We're starting with a Glide HP, which is the freeride foil and also the cheapest one we have here. And we want to look at a couple of different criteria, which are speed, controllability, and how comfortable it rides, and how it goes in the jibe. And in the meantime, let us know in the comments if you are already foiling or if you want to get into it. We're really curious to hear how many of you guys are foiling yet or thinking about getting into it. So enough talking and preparing on the beach. Now it's time to get back to the water. Yeah, it's not typically the gear that I would use on a daily basis, but obviously we're making videos for a lot of people who are not full-on racers and pros, so oftentimes I get to try out those freeride foils or freeride sails or boards, which are also super fun to use, just not the fastest gear, but that gives me also a really good overview of what's out there in terms of gear. Was actually way more fun than expected. So smooth. It's obviously a wing with a very big surface, 1130 square centimeters, so that's a very big surface. You can feel that it just comes out by itself in almost no wind. It's just so smooth and controllable because it doesn't go over a certain speed. We had a good range of wind. There was like sometimes almost zero wind, 5 knots to maybe, I would say 15 knots. And I felt actually comfortable, like all the way from 5 knots because the thing just generates so much lift, all the way up to 50 knots because it doesn't go over a certain speed. Of course also it helps in the jibes that it lifts even at almost 0 speed, so you can do your jibes in almost no speed. And then this is a 85 centimeter long foil mast from aluminium, so it doesn't hurt so much when you scratch it somewhere because it's not carbon. And it's also not so high, so especially if you start to foil, if you want to start, if you're someone who's maybe a little bit scared because you're not going to be as high above the water, it's not as scary, but of course it's not gonna get you very fast. And you have to kind of decide which route you want to go. Do you want to start making tricks at some point? Do you want to freestyle, or do you want to go down the racing route? Do you want to start going faster? Because if you're someone who learns fast, you might want to skip this foil and move straight to the one that's maybe a little bit more maneuverable, maybe a little bit faster, depending on which direction you want to go into. Or do you just want to keep on cruising for the rest of your life? Then this might be the right choice for you. We're moving down the speed route because next we're using the Flight FR, which is a Freerace foil, and you can see that already in the front wing. It's much more high aspect, which means it's a bit wider and not as long, and also much slimmer in the profile if you compare it to the Freeride foil we've been using before. Quite a thick wing, more narrow, a lot of surface. We're also having a longer fuselage with the front wing further forward, which is what we need on this wing because the surface is smaller. 815 square centimeter. The same goes for the tail wing. It's a bit more high aspect. Foiling has definitely developed in a lot of different directions, not only in windsurfing, but what it certainly has done is allowed for a lot more days on the water because you can get up and going in all kinds of conditions.
But not only in windsurfing, the introduction of foiling has made a massive difference. Foil disciplines have become the pinnacle of sailing, with projects like the Foil GP or America's Cup, in which often new advancements in hydrodynamics are being discovered. Interestingly, a lot of them trickle down to windsurfing, kitesurfing or winging, because designers look at what these high-budget projects are doing, and some of the designers in America's Cup like to windsurf, wing or kite themselves. So yeah, safe to say, foiling has made wind sports so much more accessible and enjoyable in light winds. And especially in windsurfing, it has injected a new level of intensity into windsurfing competitions. So from lightning fast speeds to gravity-defying tricks, windsurf foiling has redefined what's possible on the water, making every session an exhilarating experience. And whether you're a seasoned sailor or an eager beginner, wind foiling has to be on your radar.
Cold sweat, blood in my eyes, thunder rolling through the skies. I can feel it in the air tonight. Say I won't, but you know I might. Ain't no storm and ain't no thief. Ain't got time and ain't got sleep. But I feel fine and I feel free. 'Cause I'm the last man standing in the street. Knowing the fall, knowing the hold on. I own the fall. I've been trying. Know you wanna test my pride. I suggest you go and move. Say I won't, but you know I might. Ain't no storm and ain't no thief. Ain't got time and ain't got sleep. But I feel fine and I feel free. 'Cause I'm the last man standing in the street.
That was a lot faster, but also that bit much more difficult to control. You have to be a little bit more precise. You gotta carry a little bit more speed in the jibe. So now you really have to engage into the jibe. So learning jibing on this one is going to be a little bit more difficult. It wants to get planing a little bit more actively. You gotta pump it a bit to get it going in really light wind, but then it goes. You gotta have a little bit more skill, especially if you want to learn on a fly like this. You gotta be, sort of an experienced sailor. The other one, the glide wind is much more easy to learn on, that's for sure. And now I'm really curious to see how much faster the race foil will be. Talking about speed, we're super happy that Waterspeed app is once again supporting this video. Waterspeed app is an app with which you can track your sessions. I get this question a lot. Which app I'm using, which watch I'm using. So I'm using the Apple Watch Ultra, and I'm using the Waterspeed app to track the session, and the app is actually super convenient because it transfers the file super quickly to the phone. It's super fun to play around with, easy interface. You have all the stats you need, 2 seconds max, 5 seconds max. They even have some new features, and they keep rolling out new features. And now you can actually see your speed in the jibe, your average speed in the jibe, your top speed in the jibe. You can see the amount of time you spend on the foil, and of course you can see your max speed, which is what we need today. And I'm really curious if this one will deliver, well, I know already it will deliver more speed, but I'm curious how big the difference is. So big shout out to Waterspeed app. The link is down below in the description. So if you want to track your sessions as I do, be sure to download the app. And now I would say, let's see how fast I go.
I put it at work. If you pull it, better pop it. Even your hood here watch it. Now failure ain't an option. Better put it at work. Put it at work. Better put it at work. Put it at work.
So here we obviously have the biggest jump, but in everything. I mean, already in like craftsmanship, I mean, look at this beautiful piece of carbon, but also in terms of price tag. It's something very expensive, it's something very beautiful, and something very fast. I mean, the difference in speed was, yeah, I would say quite big. In races, when we put the proper sail and we're on the race course, we go up to 33, 34, 35 knots. But also there's a big gap in terms of controllability and how difficult it is to jibe, because it's not very forgiving. You have to carry a lot of speed through the jibe, because otherwise you're not gonna make it foiling through the jibe. And I think that's what you have to keep in mind if you want to move to the racing gear. It's gonna make you much faster, it's gonna be a lot of fun and a lot of adrenaline, but also it's gonna be more difficult to learn on it, and that can be quite a setback. So you really have to consider if this is what you want to go for. And then we can also put different front wings on it. So that means we can go way smaller in the front wing, so we can control the foil in up to 25, 30 knots. So quite versatile, but yet again quite hard to control for average windsurfers. So as you can see, the differences are quite significant in speed, in control, in the jibing, but also the way the foils look. Obviously we have the Freeride foils with a big front wing, massive, very thick, not as high aspect as our racing foils, shorter fuselage, so they're quite easy to handle, they're good to get into it. And yeah, you kind of need to know in which direction you want to go with foiling. Because if you go that racing route, you have obviously the freerace foil, which is also a possibility to get into foiling. It's going to be a little bit harder, obviously. And then, the biggest jump really is when it comes to the race foiling, in price, in performance, in also controllability and skill level you need to bring to the table. So think about which type of person you are. Are you someone who learns quickly, who adapts quickly? Then you might want to skip the Freeride foil. Or do you want to keep cruising until the end of your life? Then the Freeride foil is the right one for you. But definitely don't skip the Freerace foil. I think it's going to be a lot easier to learn jibing on that one as opposed to the pure racing foil. And also think about how many days you will spend on the water, because that's going to determine how much money you should spend on your equipment. And obviously there's a big step from having a aluminium mast versus a carbon mast. It's quite a significant difference in performance, but also in cost. So that's something you should keep in mind. And this is it with our foil comparison. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave us a like under the video, and don't forget to let us know in the comments what your current state with the foil is. Thanks to Waterspeed app for sponsoring this video, and I see you guys in the next one.